How's it going, Jets fans? My name is Alex, and my co-host here, Ryan Moran. And today we want to take a look at a bunch of different plays, 20 plays or so, that were kind of highlighted during this Jets win over the Miami Dolphins this past week. Kind of looked at what they did to expose that Miami defense. Most of them are pretty positive. There's some plays that we'd say, okay, maybe we'd fix a couple things, tweak a couple things, but mostly it's just a lot of getting to the football on the defensive side for the Jets. Rallying to the football, being aggressive, and then the offensive side, Zach Wilson making a couple really nice throws. Of course, Breece Hall had another tremendous game, and he was absolutely stellar. Almost had 200 all-purpose yards. Finally got his touchdown after going down to the one twice. This is a player who cannot just do it on the ground. He can do it through the air too. We saw this. Two really nice receptions. I went down to the 1 yard line. He punched one in. Michael Carter had the other two. Zach Wilson had himself a rushing touchdown as well. So altogether, this team got it done on the ground. They established the run, really took Miami out of it. And when you establish the run, it opens up play action, but it also helps you control the clock. And I'd say you're more probable to turn the ball over when you're throwing it rather than running it. So they did a really good job of protecting the football as well. So I was pretty excited about that. In terms of just the Jets being efficient and playing to their strengths. And ultimately, Breece Hall, we're finding out very quickly, is a strength on this offense, on this team in general, and they need to be building the scheme around his success and his production. But Ryan, before we dive into these plays, kind of highlighting what the Jets did to win this game in Week 5, how you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great, Alex. I think the defense, we're going to see just how fast they played and how well the rush and coverage really worked together on some of these plays. And I think offensively, Zach did not put the ball in, harm's way whatsoever in this game, which is really encouraging. And we're going to see, with a lot of the good decisions that he did make and maybe even some room for growth, for Zach moving forward with these skill position players in the passing game. And I feel like, the offensive line collectively had its best game. We'll see ABT at right tackle doing some good things. We'll even see Lakin with some good reps at left guard. So, some good stuff to break down that, is not as easy to see on the live broadcast, but really jumps out when you watch it on tape.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into the film here. We're going to look at about 6 minutes worth. So you guys can stick with us and kind of go through what the Jets did. We're going to see the Jets probably try to run the ball very efficiently this upcoming Sunday. I think that's part of the offensive game plan and the success they hope to curate. But let's start it off here and see what we've got. So obviously Jets are on the defensive side right now.
They're in a 2 deep, a quarters type of coverage zone on the back end, which holds up well. And you'll see here Jermaine Johnson on the left edge is who I really wanted to make note of. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to go for this game Sunday. Saleh just, ruled him out. But you see here, the power he's able to generate gets a little low at the top of the rush and impacts that throw a little bit from the left edge position.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he has a lot of good power as a rookie.
Yep.
That's what you want to see.
Show some speed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, he's got all the raw materials to be a very good pass rusher. I think he's 24 years old, a little bit old for a rookie, but nonetheless, he's physically developed and just some good coaching will get him where he needs to be.
Absolutely. So on this play, one of the misses that Zach had in this game, I guess you would say, it really jumped out to me when I watched it from this view. I think the reason he fell a little short on this throw is it's a late pressure, over Lakin Tomlinson here that really doesn't allow Zach to fully step into the throw. If you see there. And Elijah's open on the deep out, and it's just underthrown. So it's little things like that. If the Jets can clean up those minor details, can really get Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, big games in the passing game, which we all want to see. And the Jets are going to have, just the little things like that. This play here, Breece Hall. I mean, look at that pickup. This is a third down early in the game that the Jets converted to Corey Davis. You'll see Breece work across his screen here. Just the physicality, the willingness really jumps out there. And he's able to give Zach, clear lane to complete that pass.
Another tick in the box for Breece Hall. He can do it all. That pass blocking there. Some running backs, even look at like Saquon. He's a really great running back. He's not a very good pass protector, picking up those delayed blitzes. So obviously Breece Hall being able to do that with his frame, his strength is just another bonus for him and another valuable piece that he brings to this offense.
Absolutely. On this play here, you'll see Quan Alexander, who did some good things against the run. Him and Sheldon Rankins were two players in the front seven who I really wanted to highlight with their run defense in this game. You see Quan work around that blocking space. And I mean, this is a very physical, aggressive type of player and, finishes that play there. The Jets run defense obviously had its struggles, but a couple of guys did have some, good performances.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, stopping the run's the big one, right? Like the Packers are not easy. They have Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. That's going to be where they have to stop. But another really nice play. This is the Breece Hall reception. It stopped on the 1 yard line. I mean, Really nice. I love how they're getting the play action involved, those little RPOs and everything. It just opens up the offense so much, and it forces the defense to allocate attention to players, and it leaves guys like Breece Hall wide open downfield.
And on this particular play, the Jets last week actually tried Breece on one of these up the sideline where Zach actually rolled out, and Breece was open down the field. It was just a bit underthrown, and you see LaFleur does a good job with the pre-snap motioning there, and it confuses those linebackers in man coverage. So that definitely, you could kind of tell when you watch from the other view too. Breece really picked up speed, and he knew it was going to be a big one.
Yeah, look at these linebackers. Look, they're running into each other.
Corey Davis does a good job working across.
Yeah, they're all running into each other, that's exactly what you want. Yeah, see, like 20. I mean, they don't even know where they are.
Yep,
that's how you scheme. Out scheme an opposing defense. So Mike LaFleur definitely had their number, and just a really nice job altogether. Breece Hall obviously getting down just to the 1 yard line. Yep, and Braxton Berrios, a small guy. The guy can block. I'll tell you that.
All the Jet skill players block. We'll see that in this one. You'll love the effort and the buy-in. And even Zach going through his reads, looking at Corey before making that throw to Breece, which was a strike. On this play here, AVT at right tackle, seals on the first level, works up to the second level, and does just enough to help Michael Carter get in here. LaFleur did a lot of these two backs and, a little bit pre-snap motioning to just kind of freeze the defense, spread them out a little bit. And Michael Carter obviously finished with 2 short yardage touchdowns. This play here, Jordan Whitehead did a great job. He was active, fast in this game, took some good angles, and his physicality at the point, which we'll see here from this view, definitely jumps out.
Yeah, Jordan Whitehead had a nice game. Nicely done.
This was Sauce's interception. They put him in a bit of a bind there, and, it looks like another quarters type of zone coverage. And, he doesn't really bite on the inside action. He said this was a look that the Jets had scouted throughout the week and were prepared for. And JFM with a good pressure over Greg Little, which was a matchup the Jets had to exploit in this game to generate pressure. And JFM was obviously awesome in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Sauce getting that first interception definitely gives him even more confidence. I don't know if he needs any more confidence, but it certainly goes a long way in helping this defense kind of round out, just their unbelievable talent. And I mean, you're not beating Sauce on the outside these days. Neither DJ Reed. You're going to have to establish the run. That's why I'm saying the Packers, if they're going to beat the Jets, they got to run the ball very effectively with Dillon, with Aaron Jones. Their passing attack, if you watch the Giants Packers game in London last weekend, their passing attack is pretty bad. The receivers are not very good. They gotta utilize Aaron Jones a lot more. And the Jets, I'm curious to see how they kind of game plan around stopping him.
For sure. This play here, you'll see Garrett Wilson runs a good route, really sinks into that break on the whip route, which is good, and sells it, which gives him separation. And the pass protection holds up pretty good across the front here. Gives Zach, time in a clean pocket. He delivers an accurate throw. Garrett makes a couple miss like he does in space.
As he always does.
Absolutely. This play here, Jets run a little jet motion inside zone split. You'll see Breece. Just the patience, the vision, and then that cut up the field. What more even can you say?
I could watch this guy run all day long. It's just unbelievable how just quick in the vision. He looks like a little Le'Veon Bell right there, Like sometimes it looks like Jonathan Taylor of last year's version, and then other times it looks like Le'Veon Bell, and it's like this guy is just extraordinarily talented. He has the combination of strengths of so many different great running backs and great players, plus the hands. I mean, what more could you ask? This guy is a star.
He sure is. And you see AVT once again there sealing off, Breece with that patience, the vision, and just the upfield speed. This play here, the Dolphins end up dropping 8 in zone, and this is a third down, in the red zone, obviously. And Zach, I think, like I said, did not really put the ball in harm's way whatsoever. And I think this is the type of growth, and he showed this at the end of 2021, that you want to continue to really see him do, not really force the ball into traffic and take what's there and make a defense pay with his legs.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime I see Zach Wilson run these days, I'm terrified, but I'll tell you what, that effort is what you want to see from your quarterback. You know what I mean? That effort to extend, take that hit to the ribs. It's coming too. And this is just a nice play by Zach. Obviously shows off his athleticism, what he can do on the run, and that he's fully healthy. And I think that's the number one thing.
And you see him on that play too, go from right to left in his progression, which is also encouraging to see. Carl Lawson with the ridiculous pressure there. Quan nearly gets the interception before half. This play really jumped out to me. This was an attempted trick play where they pitched it to Tyreek Hill and they were going to throw it back to the quarterback. And they did have JFM, as you'll see, he really reads that right away and stays with the quarterback. And there's a guy that ends up running a, deep post, crossing route that the Jets ended up covering with two guys on the back end really well, as we'll see here. JFM is up top, and you see we'll be able to see it from the end zone view. It's definitely a bit of a strange type of pitch and just how, far back he goes when given it. So
also Tyreek, anytime you have Tyreek in the backfield, 100%. It's like something's weird here.
You got to read those keys, and JFM really did a good job. As you see, he stays with him. And then, as the guy is trying to run late there, at the top of your screen going up the fields, Jets end up covering that well. So good job. And they were in pursuit here on Tyreek as well.
The fact that Tyreek turns into like a 5-yard gain is insane.
You'll see here, JFM does a good job. It's pretty obvious too, just the way he kind of goes back.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like 15 yards backfield. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to take it. He's so fast. I mean, look at him go.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
Good tackle by Quan there.
Definitely.
The Jets have been putting Brandon Eccles in on tight ends a little bit, as we see here on Gesicki. And the Jets, third down pass rush package with Bryce Huff and Carl Lawson on the edge, JFM and Q on the inside. I mean, you see the pressure and, what the Jets are able to create from the edges here with both Huff and Lawson, forcing in a bit of an errant throw on third down.
Yeah, I mean, they took advantage of a backup quarterback. So, you have to. You can't let third string quarterbacks beat you. They did a good job. They didn't let him do anything.
No doubt about that. This play here, just wanted to highlight a few of the skill position players helping out Brees on this big run. Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin gets out in the alley. They seal it off well. ABT as well works his way to the outside, and Brees just perfect cut up the field. Finds the hole, and the penalty was on the Dolphins on this play, so the Jets got some extra yardage tacked on. Just looking at those skill players blocking out in space is what you want to see. The buy-in,
they sealed it too.
These players, absolutely. Tyler Conklin there,
their backs are facing the gap.
It off perfectly, gets in position. Right leverage. Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson both. So you love to see it. It's collective. When you have the type of game like Breece Hall just had, you got to give props to the guys out in space doing the dirty work for him.
Absolutely.
This was the first sack the Jets got here. I want to just highlight the man coverage really being on point here from this view. You see nothing's really open there in a bit of a cover one. I want to say that CJ Mosley and a robber underneath or somebody there. So everything's pretty covered up well. And then you see they operate a little twist on the inside with JFM and Q, again, out of that third down pass rush package, like I said, with Huff and Carl on the edge. And really, they get home pretty well here.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
So on this play here, if there's, one thing maybe with Zach and getting Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson more consistently involved throughout a game, I think on this play here, we'll see he throws an accurate ball. I just think you'd like to see him get this one out a little bit sooner as he's moving out to his left. I mean, you look up top, Elijah Moore's on about the 32-yard line, and it is pretty open. He's at the 35 now, cutting out. I think, maybe just a tad bit more anticipation on this one. Still delivers an accurate strike, considering, the tight window with the safety crashing down. Elijah makes an incredible catch, as we'll see from this angle. And, even if that throw is a tough challenge to complete, potentially taking what's underneath there, and Corey Davis, as we see, is a bit wide open there on the flat. So, but nonetheless, you see Zach's arm talent, how good Elijah's hands are, and got to continue to get him involved.
On the run, making that throw too. That's his MO. To his left, that is Zach Wilson to a T. Like, that's why the Jets drafted him, because he can make throws like that. So I love how they're putting him in spots to utilize that strength, though. A lot of times at BYU, he would just be on the run, moving around, trying to find ways to get the ball downfield. And, obviously the pass rush wasn't as good at the collegiate level, so he'd have all the time in the world. But he tends to be like his best self when he's throwing these incredibly difficult he'll skip a ball in the dirt on a screen pass, but it'll hit a freaking 40-yard pass downfield, rolling to his left across his body on a dime. And it's just like, when you have a player like that, you got to scheme to that strength. And, defenses are not expecting a lot of quarterbacks to do that. So it's fun to actually maximize.
So on this play here, Jordan Whitehead was a guy I highlighted earlier and does a good job here. You see, he was fast in this game, covering space, takes a good angle and sound on that tackle, cleaning it up on a third down. This was really what got the Jets' late surgeons going in the fourth quarter. The 3 touchdowns in the final 10 minutes. This was the first play after the Dolphins missed that field goal. Zach Wilson, play action, deep drop, and hits Corey Davis on that deep out. Anticipation, like I said, on that miss to Elijah earlier. You see Corey's like just getting out of his break, and Zach's already letting it rip. Great placement, good catch by Corey. So we'll see here. The blocking holds up pretty well. AVT at right tackle, Lakin at left guard, I felt like had his best game to date. So definitely some encouraging things. A little bit of a late pressure there over Dwayne Brown's side, but just enough time there for Zach to really step in and let that one rip with accuracy. Tough throw. This play here was the second of Breece Hall's 2 big catches on the day. Set the Jets up for a touchdown to, I want to say this extended the lead to 26-17. You see on this play, Elijah Moore does a good job there with his release and working into that linebacker, giving Breece more space to work with. And Breece just puts a little shake on there. I think it's Javon Holland makes him miss and gets a couple extra yards. I mean, Breece Hall making guys miss with contact, balance, and quickness is the moral of the story from this one. Good catch too. Makes him miss.
That guy, you can't take him down. It's insane.
He's big, fast. This play here, I want to say Carl Lawson ends up beating Gesicki pretty easily, as one would expect. I mean, he was awesome in this game. And Q with the alert ability there to pick that up. And a little stiff arm on Tyreek went viral on social media. You can tell the Jets were fired
I love that.
We're fired up to play him after what he said, and rightfully so. This play here, I wanted to highlight Elijah Vera Tucker at right tackle, working up to the second level and absolutely finishing this play out in space, helping Breece Hall on this big run. CJ Uzama with a good block stealing there as well. Another guy who would be nice to see get more involved in the passing game, but the buy-in again from all these guys, changing positions, blocking for their teammates. I mean, look at the space Breece has to operate with. Barrios getting out in front once again too. And look at ABT on the left side of your screen there against number 45, finishing that play. I mean, we said yesterday he's been the best player on the team, and he's been nothing short of dominant.
That's absolute facts.
So the final play here, they operate a little counter OF with the jet motion with Barrios, and you'll see Lakin gets out in front. Another good block by Corey Davis, which we'll see from the end zone view. And I mean, Breece once again with just the quickness and the contact balance. ABT with a good seal there, taking a good angle. Corey Davis out in front, little quickness there, make a guy miss, and just the contact balance to keep moving forward. Across the board. I mean, this was a game the Jets needed to have, putting up 40 points, winning the division at home, first winning streak for Robert Saleh. And, you really saw it throughout this video. I mean, offense, defense, it was pretty good for the most part. Obviously, the run defense is the one area you'd like to see get cleaned up. But like I said, contributions from the Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, Quan Alexanders of the world. It's just now getting it really from everybody. Quincy Williams will be back for this game Sunday, I'm pretty sure. So getting healthy, obviously, no JJ is tough, but I think we even saw in this video what Bryce Huff is giving this team on passing downs as a pass rusher. So all in all, a whole lot to feel good about. The offensive line, let's hope that they can continue to build after a strong performance like this. And ultimately, for the most part, like we saw, Zach Wilson was pretty good. And that's obviously, undoubtedly a big key moving forward for the Jets here.
Absolutely. And I hope they keep building on this running game because it wears defenses down. Like Breece Hall doesn't go down very easily. They're opening up these massive gaps, and hopefully they can continue to mount and compound on that success they experienced against the Dolphins. And the Green Bay Packers have a pretty bad run defense. So I expect them to be heavily relying on that run game, which opens up the play action. Zach Wilson, of course, you want him to be throwing the ball and scoring touchdowns with his arm, but you don't need to do that. It's not a necessity. The running game will set up the passing game, in my opinion, when you have such a great unit like the Jets do. So I'm excited to see how they continue to mount their success moving forward. Have already gotten a lot of different success from different players individually and as a unit. So I'm excited to see how they continue to develop over the next couple of weeks, guys. But I'd love to hear perspectives below in the YouTube comments section. What stood out to you from this game? Any standout players, individuals? Obviously, Breece Hall to me and Ryan was probably the impact player in this game and will continue to do so. He'll continue to be that guy. And hopefully his role just expands as the weeks go on here. Michael Carter's still a valuable piece, but you got Breece Hall as that workload guy. I love to see like Michael Carter can be that kind of Nyheim Hines. Like I said earlier in the offseason, I think Breece Hall and Michael Carter could be that like Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines kind of combination in terms of just how they're used. But with that being said, I'd love to see Breece Hall get those goal line touches and kick those balls into the end zone because ultimately he got it down to the 1 yard line. So I'd like to see him get the respect there and get those stats just for his own. But of course, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. As always, leave a comment below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Jets episode.